So I've been gone from this channel these last few weeks on vacation and such, but don't think I haven't been paying attention to the recent hip-hop beef that's been lightly sizzling as of late. For those unaware, legendary hip-hop duo Clipse, consisting of brothers Pusha T and Malice, have just returned with their first studio album in over 15 years, Let God Sort 'Em Out. And out of the many amazing moments this record's rollout gave us, the biggest standout had to be the release of the second single, So Be It, in which Pusha T disses Travis Scott in his final verse.
Cried in front of me, you died in front of me. Calabasas took your bitch and your pride in front of me. But I got the video I can share in AE it. They wouldn't believe it, but I can't unsee it. Lucky I ain't TMZ it.
Now, Push, of course, isn't a stranger to rap beef. I hope we all remember his absolutely cutthroat diss track against Drake back in 2018. And so originally, I wasn't even gonna cover this shot towards Travis, as it really seemed nothing out of the ordinary. And with Travis all but guaranteed to simply ignore the shot, I figured nothing major would really come out of it. However, everything changed with the release of the second JACKBOYS project, which literally dropped the same day as I'm currently writing this for reference. On the opening track, Champagne and Vacay, we actually get a clap back from Travis, albeit a very small one.
Man, I swear these old niggas killed me. Know my wires filled. Blue Bugatti, I'm dodging TMZ. Made 100, I'm pushing T.
But while this shot in comparison was a lot less severe, I think it might have been just enough to cause this beef to snowball into something much bigger. So today, we're going to be analyzing this entire feud between Push and Travis so far, and then by the end I'll try to predict what will ultimately come of this situation if it does end up escalating. Starting with Push's initial shot, we have the lines, "You cried in front of me, you died in front of me, Calabasas took your bitch and your pride in front of me, her utopia had moved right up the street, and her lip gloss was poppin', she ain't need you to eat." Now these first few lines set up the main claim that Pusha T has with this diss, that being that he allegedly has some sort of incriminating video of Travis Scott in his possession, while also revealing that Travis Scott allegedly shared a vulnerable moment with him, presumably from some sort of issue with his then partner Kylie Jenner, which of course connects to the next lines talking about her makeup brand, saying basically Kylie doesn't need Travis's money. And then we have the lines, "The net gon' call it the way that they see it, but I got the video, I can share and AE it." Obviously referencing this alleged video again, but there's also a double entendre in the latter line where Cher and AE it is also meant to reference celebrity couple Cher and Alexander A.E. Edwards, as Travis and Edwards were involved in some sort of physical altercation some years back. And finally, Push ends his verse with the lines, "They wouldn't believe it, but I can't unsee it, lucky I ain't TMZ it," which again sees him doubling down about this potentially incriminating video of Travis, but still coldly letting him know that he did show restraint by not leaking it to TMZ. So overall, while it is nowhere near the most ruthless Pusha T has been when dissing someone, I think this is a fairly solid warning shot to Travis and does pack a lot of punch if what Pusha alleges is true. And the sinister nature of the shot is really amplified by the amazing production on the song and killer rap performances from both Push and Malice earlier in the track. So with Push's initial shot explained, the only question left to answer is, why did he initiate this feud to begin with? Well, fortunately for us, Push has actually explained his exact motivations pretty clearly during a series of interviews Clipse has done during this whole album rollout. Essentially, it boils down to Pusha feeling a sense of disloyalty towards Travis after a particular moment involving them, as well as the sole producer of Let God Sort 'Em Out, that being Pharrell Williams. He explained that back in 2023, while Clipse and Pharrell were still working on the new record, Travis interrupted a studio session between them to show Pharrell his then released fourth studio album, Utopia. Specifically, Push claims that Travis showed off the Drake-assisted track Meltdown, but intentionally skipped Drake's verse on the song, which, if you'll remember, features numerous sneak disses towards both Push and Pharrell. And I mean, if this situation did go down the way Pusha T describes it, that is a crazy move from Travis. Especially considering that the name Meltdown comes directly from Drake's specific line dissing the two, where he says, "I melt down the chains that I bought from your boss," boss being Pharrell obviously, give a fuck about all that heritage shit. But what's even more insane is that this isn't even the only time Travis has played both sides like this. In another interview, Pusha T talks about previous instances of Travis's disloyal behavior, like back in 2018 with Astroworld, which simultaneously features the track Skeletons, which for those who don't know was basically a Kanye reference track until Travis got a hold of it, and Sicko Mode, which literally features Drake sneak dissing Kanye. Or there was that weird 2024 Rolling Loud moment where Travis sort of egged on Future and Metro Boomin to preview like that during their performance, all while knowing about the Kendrick verse on it that would go on to escalate his feud with Drake. Ultimately, Pusha T seemed to notice this pattern with Travis and took great offense to it, saying, quote, "He don't have no picks, no loyalty to nobody. He'll jump around whatever he feels is hot or cling on to whatever he feels is hot. And I've been dealing with that corny shit that goes along with them, that lack of loyalty. Travis really has that, he's proven," end quote. And this combined with the alleged vulnerable moment he shared with Travis, it was enough disrespect to get Push to bite, it seems. So yeah, it's pretty safe to say that there's been a lot of stuff bubbling under the radar between these two for a minute now. And dare I say, this shot from Push on So Be It could very well be the match that sets off the fuse for this entire thing, especially now that Travis has responded on Wax. I will say though, I'm not going to go into nearly as much detail with Travis's response to Push, since it simply got way less substance, which, to be fair, is kind of expected. On the track Champagne and Vacay, Travis says, "Yeah man, I swear these old guys kill me, know my YNs feel me, they just want the real me, yeah blue Bugatti I'm dodging TMZ, made 100 off Push and T's." Besides the obvious play on Pusha T's rap name in the final line, we also have another reference to TMZ. And there's also the opening lines, which could be read as Travis flexing that he has a much stronger reach with the younger generation of hip-hop fans in comparison to the much older Pusha T, which, fair enough, is definitely true in a commercial sense. But yeah, other than a "you're old and less popular than me" sentiment, there's not much in terms of scathing insults from Travis here. And that's actually going to take me to my ultimate prediction as for the future of this feud. I will say, the general consensus from what I've seen on the internet so far is that Push will likely not respond, most likely because he feels that Travis's clap back wasn't worth a response. After all, it was very mild. And I mean, Pusha literally said himself that he sees Travis as harmless, which is both one of the funniest and most scathing insults across this entire rollout. But even with this point, I still genuinely think there is a pretty strong case to be made that Push will respond in some way or another. See, I think the previous argument only works if you assume that the only response Travis has had to this whole thing is those few lines in the track. But what I've made sure to not mention yet is that outside of the music, there have been some decisions made by Travis that could be seen as retaliatory attacks towards Push. The main one being the fact that Travis decided to drop JACKBOYS 2 literally 2 days after Let God Sort 'Em Out dropped, presumably to try and outsell Clipse. And I genuinely think that this was Travis's intention since hearing So Be It. Since one, why else would he drop on a Sunday instead of just waiting until next Friday to presumably sell even more copies? And two, Travis really decided to take a page out of Playboi Carti's book by having JACKBOYS 2 mixed like dog shit. So yeah, my working theory is that the record was meant to drop at a much later date, but once Travis got word of the diss from Push, he scrambled to finish it as soon as possible to drop the same week as Clipse to outsell them, hence why it came out sounding straight up unfinished, and on a Sunday. And with how well documented it is that Travis inflates his first week sales with physical bundles and different album variants, I could absolutely see him pulling a move like this as some sort of one-up on Push. Which, I mean, fair enough, is really the only way he can respond, since like, what else is he gonna try to do, out-rap him? Although I will also say, and this is definitely a bit of a stretch, but just follow me here, in the days leading up to Let God Sort 'Em Out dropping, the album was actually fully leaked online. And yes, you're probably thinking, well, there's no way that was Travis Scott himself that did the leak. However, it would fit the idea that Travis is trying to eclipse, no pun intended, the sales of the brothers' new record. And on top of that, there's also a certain rapper who Travis was close with who used this exact same strategy in 2021 against Kanye by leaking Life of the Party with Andre 3000. Look, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I do genuinely think that we may have a bit of a Cold War situation between these two. Kinda like how Drake and Kendrick were before the big escalation last year. So as for my final prediction, it may take Push a little bit of time since he'll want the new album to settle first, but I do think we see some sort of response from him. Maybe even as soon as next week when the first week sales of each project drop. And I'll say, if we do end up seeing an escalation in this feud, potentially to diss track level, let me tell you, I'm all here for it. Alright, and that's basically gonna do it for my thoughts on this recent beef between Pusha T and Travis Scott. If you enjoyed, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel to see new uploads from me on Saturdays and sometimes Wednesdays, unless I say otherwise in my community posts. Also, leave a comment letting me know what you think is gonna come of this feud, and of course, whose side you're gonna be taking if this thing does reach the diss track stage. And finally, as always, if you'd like to support the channel further, you can now become a member and receive early access to all of my videos, as well as a special shout out from me at the end of them, as you'll see on screen right now. So join up if you're interested, it really does help me out a lot. Oh, and actually, one last thing before I go, sorry. I just wanted to apologize for being gone for so long. Like I said, I went on vacation a few weeks back, and that combined with some slowly creeping burnout and a lack of video topics that I had enough passion to complete, kinda left me stuck with what to do when I got back. Thankfully though, this whole Clipse rollout has gotten me really excited for the music scene again, if you couldn't tell already by my energy in this video, and I can't wait to talk about the full project in my next video. And then, hopefully Vanisher will finally drop, and then I can finally talk about that. But until then, that's gonna be it for this one. Oh, also forgot to mention, Justin Bieber of all people surprise dropped the new record the same day Clipse dropped, and then went on to diss them in a now deleted Instagram story.